Medicare is a federal insurance program that is paid for out of our Social Security retirement benefits. So any person over the age of 65 or anyone who is fully disabled is eligible for Medicare, which has Part A and Part B. And whether you have pre-existing conditions or not, you're eligible for that if you are receiving Social Security retirement and over age 65, or you are 100% disabled and have been disabled for 2 years or more, and then you're eligible for Medicare. It is something, though, that does not pay 100% of your medical bills. It doesn't cover everything, and there are co-pays. That's why most people have to have a Medicare supplement to go with it. Medi-Cal is a program, an entitlement program that we have funded with our state and federal income taxes that pay for the insurance needs, usually for those who are impoverished. But it is also a wonderful program that will pay for people who are experiencing catastrophic illnesses and age-related situations as well. Medi-Cal covers many different things. It covers medical expenses as well as long-term care expenses associated with nursing homes. So in our situation, we would only want to talk about how Medi-Cal could help someone when they're faced with the expenses of extended care that are associated with aging or age-related illnesses, such as going into a nursing home. The 30-month look back as far as Medi-Cal, the state of California's Medi-Cal program, means that at the date of applying for Medi-Cal, the state has the right and the authority to ask a person what they've done with their money or their assets from the date of application back to the previous 30 months. And the reason why they're doing that is because they want to see if you spent your money or gave your money away that would create a period of ineligibility. So we're very aware of how to make sure that we're not creating any kind of period of ineligibility, even though we may be moving assets around within the California and federal guidelines. Well, spend down is a term that's used in Medi-Cal speak to reduce a person's assets in order to satisfy the resource allowance for the Medi-Cal eligibility and to be able to meet that program's specific resource allowance for a married couple or a single person, and be able to receive the Medi-Cal benefit without creating a period of ineligibility. So there are many different ways to do that within the Medi-Cal guidelines. Well, Medi-Cal payback or Medi-Cal recovery is a term that is used for paying back Medi-Cal or the state any money that they've spent on someone for their care. So unfortunately, even though we have contributed our state and federal taxes to fund the Medi-Cal program, when we get or qualify for Medi-Cal, we're not being given that money. It's actually just being loaned to us so that we have to pay it back. So that at the date of death, if a person has enjoyed the Medi-Cal benefit in their lifetime from age 55 and over, the Medi-Cal is going to ask for that money back depending on what is in their name and what assets they have at the date of death or the date of death of the last surviving spouse. So it's really important to make sure that we do not have any assets in a Medi-Cal recipient's name at the date of death. You can apply for your own if you meet the Medi-Cal requirements, and that is for a single person, you can only have one home, one car, and no more than $2,000 in your name with whether it's cash, checking account, savings, CDs, investments. For a married couple, if you have one spouse that's in a nursing home and needs help, and the other spouse is what we call the healthy spouse, then the healthy spouse is going to have to meet the requirement as well, which means that they can have a home and a car and no more than 115,000 in additional assets. The spouse that's going to be using or utilizing the Medi-Cal benefit because they're in a nursing home can only have $2,000 in their name, and that is all they can have. So it's very easy to get Medi-Cal if you fall within those resource allowances. However, the tricky part is that not all eligibility workers are aware of the code regulations. And if you're over that resource allowance, it's very difficult to know what the Medi-Cal rules and regulations are. No, it doesn't. The eligibility requirement only has to do with the assets that a person has. However, the income is going to be used in calculating the share of cost. So again, Medi-Cal isn't free. There is going to be a copay or a share of cost, and it's based on the fixed income. Actually, they can. If you know what the Medi-Cal rules and regulations are, there are many policies and procedures in place that allow a person to have assets and exempt the assets or to transfer them in a way that will not create a period of ineligibility and still be eligible for Medi-Cal benefits. For instance, what's very interesting is that if a person has a business, believe it or not, if that is an income producing business, the business is exempt from the resource allowance. However, the business income will be used as part of the calculation in the share of cost. The period of ineligibility is calculated by using a mathematical equation, and it is used as a means to determine the length of time that someone is ineligible for Medi-Cal if they have transferred their assets without consideration, meaning they just gave their assets away or they loaned it away and they didn't buy something with those assets. And there is the calculation is used by dividing something called the divisor, which is a number that is the average private pay rate of a nursing home, which right now is a nebulous amount of money, or a figure, a number out there that is around $7,000. So if a person has gifted or written a check to their child or someone for $100,000, then the period of ineligibility is going to be calculated by using that $7,000 divisor. Well, the home is an exempt asset as far as qualifying for the initial Medi-Cal eligibility. However, the home is not going to be exempt from payback or Medi-Cal lien at the date of death if the home is still in the person's name. So there's a reason why we would want to transfer the home out of their person's name before they pass away. But you have to be careful with that, because then there are also tax issues, taxable gain issues with the IRS. So again, it's very complex and intricate, but there is a way to satisfy everybody's rules and regulations. Well, typically the cost of nursing home care right now is going to be, or average, around $6,000 to $8,000 a month, depending on where you are geographically. That's a lot of money, and a lot of people would probably go broke if they had to spend that on their care out of their own pocket, especially if there's a healthy spouse that we want to make sure that they have enough to live on as well. So the Medi-Cal benefit can be used to pay for nursing home care as long as the family or the single person or the married couple meet the eligibility requirements, and there are ways to do that. And then the share of cost is calculated based on the fixed income of the single person or the fixed income of the married couple. And so in many cases, when we have a married couple and the at-home spouse has very little income, in many cases the spouse that's in the nursing home may have a zero share of cost. Or if a person is single and their income is only $1,200 a month from Social Security retirement, then once Medi-Cal is granted, their share of cost will only be around $1,200 or no more than $1,200 a month. Therefore, the cost of care is going to be that burden will be shared by the state through, again, remember, this is your taxes that have been funding the Medi-Cal benefit for you to utilize at some point in time. Absolutely. Medi-Cal may not be here forever, but the only thing that it really is going to help you with is the expense of a nursing home, which is long-term care. Right now, there are some counties in the state of California that participate in something called the Assisted Living Waiver Program, and there are some people that would be eligible for in-home care, but by and large, that's a very small percentage of people that would be affected. So the purchase of long-term care insurance always, always is an option. If you're healthy enough to do it, you can afford it, please purchase long-term care insurance. Unfortunately, no. A revocable living trust that is funded by someone's assets are always going to be countable as if it were their assets, whether it's in a trust or not. So the cash account, the investment, the home that's in a revocable trust is still going to be countable. It's still going to be liened against at the date of death. So the only way to really protect a home or the assets is the use of an irrevocable trust that is very specific and only executed by few attorneys who understand this type of intricate trust instrument. Probably not. I don't think that is a true statement. All assets are either countable or exempt or unavailable or available. And so it just depends on whether the asset is within the eligibility requirements. But if you're over the eligibility requirements, if you're a single person with more than $2,000 and you have a $50,000 annuity product, even if you're receiving income from that product, if it can be cashed out or surrendered, even with a penalty, that is going to be a countable asset, and it's also going to be an asset that Medi-Cal can lien at the date of death. Well, that's not really true. Medi-Cal is a very complex process that most people are not aware of all of the rules and regulations and the exceptions to the rules and regulations that are available. So if a person's going to gift out a lot of money all in one gift, then there is going to be a period of ineligibility if they're going to apply for Medi-Cal right away. However, even if someone wants to get Medi-Cal immediately, as long as they're following the guidelines of the spend down and gifting rules, and they are not gifting out more than the average private pay rate of a nursing home, which at the moment is about $7,500 per person per day, then they're still going to qualify for Medi-Cal as long as everything is disclosed to Medi-Cal and they are following the rules and regulations. So give us a call or an email within about a 20-minute conversation with Kelly. She can give you an idea how we can help you. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of families in the last 18, 19 years. So we're here to help you and give you that peace of mind that you can get through this with your loved one.
Give me a call. I can give you an answer in about 20 minutes. I'm Kelly. Our number is 530-671-3308.